Hi, everybody. Welcome to this month's edition of Registered Dietitian Nutritionist in Your Community. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing my good friend and esteemed colleague, Valerie Lively. She is a registered dietitian in our community. She practices a lot in weight management, and she actually specializes in something called motivational interviewing. So welcome, Valerie. Get us started by telling us, what is motivational interviewing?
Motivational interviewing is a counseling technique. Back in the old days, I guess you could say, of counseling or education, it was a lot like a lecture where you would go to the doctor or the dietitian and you would get a lecture about what you needed to change with not as much input about how you were going to do it. Motivational interviewing, though, is found to be much more effective because while it is clinician driven, we do provide education, it's truly patient centered. We provide the education and encourage the patient to set the goals where we can assure understanding before they leave our office.
So I really do love that. And I think that's the trend of the future, really, to have a partnership between the client or the patient and the provider. And I know you are particularly very well skilled in this area. So I also thought it would be really neat if we could show people an example of what this actually looks like in a clinician's office. So
that's a great idea because it can make it much more real than just talking about it. So Kim, our example can be you will be our patient,
okay.
A diabetic. You thought maybe your blood sugars were going up, but now you recently found out you're in the diabetic category and you're here for some education.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, so Kim, as you may or may not know, with diabetes, it's where there's too much sugar in your bloodstream. And with having too much sugar in your bloodstream, that comes from what you eat and drink. And so that can be from either like sugary drinks or candy or refined sugar. Reducing those things in addition to starchy foods can help you to manage your blood sugar. So just kind of wondering, like, if you can think of a way that maybe you're taking in a lot of those things that we could talk about setting a goal to reduce.
Well, I was thinking before I came in here today, actually, that I've already switched to water and I'm not drinking sugary drinks anymore. But I think the thing that gets me a little bit is packing kids' lunches at night. It's late at night, I'm tired, and I usually do provide them a treat. And sometimes that treat actually finds its way into my mouth. And then I go to bed. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Well, that certainly so, but I got to say, good job on already changing your drinks from sugar drinks to water. That's really great. But sounds like you are finding that you're having too many of the snack foods at night. So also really good job recognizing that. That's definitely what I call having insight into your behavior, which is what all of this is about. And so maybe we could set some goals about the snacking. So
great. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. Motivational interviewing it's great to use whenever you're open and communicative and Kim, like you're ready to set goals, ready to talk about your behavior. But it can also be especially helpful when people aren't quite ready to make change, when they're just either feeling like they're just not ready or not sure where to start, or maybe just kind of confused and upset about the whole process. So maybe this time let's do the example and you not be quite so receptive to education. And we can do a little bit more motivational interviewing.
Okay.
So again, you're the diabetic, you're here for education. And so Ms. Beavers, when you consume too much sugar and too much starchy foods, that actually can result in a higher blood sugar than you would like. Can you think of some ways of things that you're already eating that maybe would help to reduce those?
Well, I have already switched to water and I'm not drinking sugary beverages anymore. And I feel like I'm doing everything right and my blood sugar is still high. So I'm just irritated.
That's frustrating when you feel like you've done everything right and yet you're still not getting the outcome like you want.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you told me that, where I can understand where you're coming from. Do you think you might be open to keeping a food diary? I can teach you what one looks like and how to do it. And then you and I can work together on seeing where your sugars and your carbohydrates are coming from.
I guess so, but do you think that will really help?
I think so, because the only way I can really work with you is if I really understand what you're eating and drinking. And I know you wouldn't be here if you didn't want education. So I really want to do that with you.
I really do want to get my blood sugar under control. So if you think that'll help, I'm willing to give it a try.
That's great. I think it will.
Awesome. Valerie, these are great examples. I hope that gives our viewers some insight into what a registered dietitian does and what motivational interviewing is. So it was really fun being on the other side of the patient-provider spectrum during this example with you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come.
You bet. All right, you guys, we'll see you next month for another edition of Registered Dietitian Nutritionist in Your Community. Bye for now.